Good morning everybody. Thank you for joining us today here live at the waterhole we have started over at Tembe Elephant Park in South Africa with some nice big elephant bulls. My name is Kerry Dupree and I am always very excited to be with you here live at the waterhole today. Excited to see what is out there and what we can find. Just a reminder, this is a live and interactive experience, so please feel free to send through those questions and comments. I would love to hear from you. First question of the day that I'm going to send out to our viewers is, what beverage of choice do you normally, beverage or snack of choice, do you normally sit and watch live at the waterhole with? I've just had a nice cup of coffee. Nothing fancy, just a coffee with a bit of milk. Sometimes when I watch live at the waterhole, I like to snack on some peanuts and raisins. But obviously we've had festive season, Christmas time, so I've just finished off my last piece of Christmas cake. So what is your snack or beverage of choice while watching live at the waterhole? Look at these big elephant bulls. Aren't these incredibly massive tuskers? See that I can see four, so we've got one just off to the right. There's another big bull off on the other side of this waterhole. So it's very similar to the kind of elephant structure or the groups of elephants that you'll see over in Aldonyo. So here in Tembe and Aldonyo, it seems like we mostly see herds or bachelor groups of elephant bulls. It's not often that we see breeding herds coming through to these two locations. Seem to be a little bit active today. Must be a bit of a warm day over in Tembe Elephant Park. These elephants have come to have a bit of a mud wallow in these nice little wallowing points. This elephant in the center here looks like he's got a collar around his neck, perfect for tracking and monitoring the movement of these elephants. We do learn so much and get a lot of information from these elephants by using tracking devices. It's amazing to see the distances that they cover in a short period of time. So yesterday we had quite a productive day. I learnt a lot yesterday about migratory birds. So we were birding, yes, but we were birding and trying to also list partial residents or more intra-African resident birds, nomadic species, and then we were also trying to see how many migratory birds we could find. So we got 20 birds which are more nomadic or partial migrant species, partial residents, and we managed to get 6 migratory species yesterday, which was pretty cool. We started off the day with a black-winged stilt, our black kite, Egyptian geese, our barn swallows, the white-faced whistling ducks, and some pied avocets. So very cool to learn about all these birds, which are migratory birds, what movements they have, where they move within Africa as well as out of Africa. So your Palearctic migrants and your intra-African migrants. Tina's, thank you for your comment. Tina says, hello Kerry, welcome back. Looks like you did enjoy your holiday. Any new birds? So Tina's, yes, I had a great holiday. I hope you had a good holiday too, Tina's. Yes, I did get some new bird species. Very excited to have some new bird species on my life list. The new bird species that I got were in the Nata Bird Sanctuary in Botswana. I got Caspian plovers, 2 pairs of Caspian plovers. That was a lifer for me. I also got black-winged pratincoles. There was thousands of black-winged pratincoles in the salt pans of Botswana. So epic to get some black-winged pratincoles. And my other bird lifer, grey-backed sparrowlark was a lifer for me, as well as a red-capped lark. So yeah, I managed to get some new bird lifers, which is always super exciting over in Botswana. Love to hear from you, Tinas. How was your holiday, and did you explore to any new regions, maybe getting yourself some bird lifers? So today we had quite a busy day with our birding yesterday, but today I thought we would keep our eyes out for any weird and wacky behavior, animal behavior, seeing as it is Wednesday. I was looking through the African Instagram page, and my goodness, there was an unusual sighting of a Goliath heron that had captured a squirrel. How crazy is that? Poor little squirrel obviously was not fast enough to escape the clutches of a Goliath heron. Of course, this Goliath heron spent the next couple of minutes trying to swallow this huge squirrel. I wouldn't, if you're a squirrel lover, I wouldn't watch the video, but otherwise, if you'd like to see some very unusual and wacky animal behavior, go across to the African Instagram page, and there's some very strange stuff that you can find there, interesting animal behavior that I'll be sharing a few of the videos that I've seen recently. But the first one that popped up, which they posted recently from Celinda, was this unusual Goliath heron eating a squirrel. Not something you see every day. Got another comment from Bush Bookie. Says, hiya, hope you're having an awesome day. I absolutely love my sugar-free Switch energy drinks. Not a paid promotion when watching live at the Waterhole. Bush Bookie, enjoy your switches there. There are lots of sugar-free options for drinks nowadays. I always wonder what else they put in the drinks though. But yeah, it's good that you are staying sugar-free and trying to be healthy in the new year. We all need that little boost, don't we? I know we have some coffeeholics. Lots of our viewers that enjoy a few good cups of coffee, and I guess everyone has their little treats that they like to have as well. So Ari comments, says for Ari, she likes coffee. So I try to stay off the coffee. Ari, I hope you're not as bad as me. If I get on the coffee train, I can very easily have 7 to 10 cups of coffee a day, but I've been quite good lately. Normally I'll have at least 2 or 3 cups a day, but Nescafe does an amazing cappuccino. Salted caramel is my flavor. Probably not the healthiest little treat, but as long as it's only every now and then. Have a look what we have here, folks. So we've got our 2 woolly neck storks are on the right, but I see a little family of Egyptian geese that have just waddled down or waddling down to the water. I think there's some little ones with these Egyptian geese. Isn't that cool? How amazing. Oh, and some zebra are also joining us. We had some zebra yesterday also live at the Waterhole. Look at this family of Egyptian geese. Oh, isn't that so cool? So we've got some more comments. Lenny says hot apple cider vinegar with cinnamon. So Lenny, yes, hot apple cider vinegar with cinnamon. That's a great way to clear your system. I believe it's a good antioxidant, good to help boost your immune system, clear out any unwanted things in your body. So yeah, very healthy little drink there. Yeah, nice. I can't handle drinking apple cider vinegar, Lenny, so well done for being able to stomach that. I take one whiff and it instantly ignites the gag reflex. So well done for being able to drink apple cider vinegar. Wow, that's quite an interesting drink. Noah has sent through a question about our elephants. Noah says, why do some elephants develop cross tusks and even no tusks at all? Oh, sorry, we've got a comment here from Lenny. So Lenny says, apple cider with cinnamon. Oh, I thought it was apple cider vinegar. Oh, I was wondering, wow, that is an unusual drink. So Lenny, sorry about that. Apple cider with cinnamon sounds a lot better than apple cider vinegar with the cinnamon. So Noah is asking about our elephants and why some elephants develop unusual tusks, crisscrossed in the front, and even some elephants don't have tusks at all. So Noah, it all depends on the genes and genetics that these elephants receive from their ancestors. For example, look at these massive elephant tuskers here at Tembe. There is some very good genes of long tusked elephants here in this area, so they'll pass on their genes from one generation to the next, just like our very impressive Craig, that huge big elephant that unfortunately has just passed away in Amboseli. No, it is very sad to hear of his passing, but he has left so many genes behind and has many young elephants that he has sired and passed on those incredible genetics. So hopefully he will have some big tuskers that are still going to grow and become massive super tuskers from his genes and his genetics. So it all has to do with genes and genetics. Just like in us humans, you get some people that are super tall, some people that have a lighter skin, darker skin. These are all inherited genes from our ancestors, from our parents, and it's very similar that with elephants. These elephants that do have tusks that crisscross in the front, shame, I do feel sorry for them. It does make them difficult for them to fight. So often these elephant bulls in some cases would need to associate themselves with other elephant bulls to protect them, because they can't exactly fight with each other with those crisscross tusks. And also it does sometimes make it difficult for them to feed. So they can't use those tusks as tools or it makes it difficult to use those tusks as tools to kind of manipulate grass, manipulate vegetation, or stick their tusks into bark to ring bark trees. So it can be a little bit difficult for them to feed. So like in some cases I've seen huge big elephant bulls that have incredibly long tusks. So just like Craig, those tusks are extremely long, but it would make it difficult for him to fight with other bulls if you have such long tusks. And that's when it's so important that these elephants form these bachelor herds. And it's interesting the behavior that's been observed with younger elephant bulls actually protecting these big super tuskers, because they know that, well, they're very respectful of these older bulls, and then it's just an interesting interaction that you see between these elephants helping and protecting one another. It looks like we had a few new elephant bulls coming to join this elephant conference that we're having here at Tembe. It's always interesting to watch the behavior, the interactions. Do these elephants know each other? Are they aggressive towards each other? Are they calm and relaxed? Do they have submissive behavior towards one another? That's what I do love about sitting at hides watching wildlife, is that's when you learn a lot about these animals. I mean, when you're speeding by on a game drive vehicle, snapping a few shots and taking off onto the next sighting, you don't really learn much about their behavior and their body language. But when you sit here for hours and hours, you really do learn so much about these animals. Oh, look at this elephant. Talking about weird, wild and wacky. Elephants do have unusual behavior too. Normally it's the little ones. The little elephants can sometimes be quite unusual in their behavior. They can be a little bit whimsical and full of life and energy. But these elephant bulls do also surprise us with their behavior. Got some comments coming through here. So Emma is asking an unusual question. Emma says, can elephants use their trunks to create sounds like musical instruments? So yes, Emma, elephants can use their trunks and make some very musical sounds. Elephants will often push air through their trunks, which acts like a bit of a flexible tube or a trumpet. And you're often, like if elephants are rushing down to the water, or I've seen big elephant bulls fighting with one another, when one is fleeing away from an older bull or a bigger bull, they'll often trumpet. So especially when charging, if there's any tension in the environment, they can definitely use their trunk as a bit of a trumpet, or during that very low bellow grumble rumble that they make. It does make an unusual sound. Elephants that have holes in their trunks as well, so often from injury they can get infections on their trunk, which ends up leaving them with a bit of a hole in their trunk, or unfortunately in some cases. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to another location, see what else is happening out there. Let's see what's going on in Nguma. Oh, have a look what we have here. So we're over in Nguma, in Etosha, and we've got a pied kingfisher. He looks like he is trying to find a meal. Maybe he has not had much for breakfast, unlike us talking about our snacks. These pied kingfishers do have to spend quite a lot of time patiently sitting on an elevated spot, waiting to catch a meal. I love their behavior. You'll often see them bobbing their tails up and down like this. He's obviously just defecated, which might mean he could fly away any moment. Interesting, Lion Lloyd from the UK has sent through an interesting comment about our Goliath heron, which rarely do eat anything that is moving. Apparently, Lion Lloyd has seen a Goliath heron swallowing an entire ring-necked dove whole. Wow. Thank you for your comment there, Lion Lloyd. I didn't ever think, you always think Goliath herons might just feed on, I've seen them eating frogs, baby crocodiles, fish, but mostly fish. So you don't think that these creatures can feed on other unusual things. And that's what's so wacky and wild about some creatures, is when you see animals feeding on something or unsuspecting prey or catching an unusual meal, which maybe hasn't been recorded, but just because it has not been recorded does not mean it is not possible. Tinas has sent her a comment about his favorite drink, which apparently is ice cold glass of full cream fresh milk. That sounds like a nice refreshing beverage on a hot day. Roz and George has also sent through a comment about their favorite beverage, coffee sweetened with condensed milk. Oh, Roz and George, that sounds like a lovely snack. I remember in Zimbabwe when I used to visit my friends on their farms back when Zimbabwe was Rhodesia. It was you'd visit, and every afternoon a tea tray would come out, and there'd always be condensed milk, tea, coffee, and a variety of little snacks. It just reminds me of my childhood. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to El Doño, seeing as our kingfisher has disappeared. So we're here in El Doño over in Kenya. We've got a female giraffe coming to check us out. Hopefully she'll come for a drink. And I'm guessing these might be superb starlings. We were looking for them yesterday, but there was not too much activity with the bird life here yesterday at El Doño. Got some more comments to catch up on. Grace says, do the kingfishers, do they shake off water from themselves like a dog that has been in the water? So Grace, yes, often you'll see the kingfishers when they finally land back on their perch, so the pied kingfishers and your giant kingfisher, they'll often shake their head, shake their wings a bit to remove all that excess water. We have another comment from Zoe, is asking how many fish can a pied kingfisher catch in a single successful day. So Zoe, I remember sitting at a hide once. I sat for at least 5 or 6 hours in the morning, and I saw a pied kingfisher catching at least 3 small sized fish, I would say. And when we left the hide, that little pied kingfisher was still busy hunting. So I think it would depend on the size of the fish that the pied kingfisher catches. So if they catch 2 or 3 very large fish, that might be enough for them to feed on, but generally most of the fish they catch are quite small, and that means they would have to expend a lot of energy to catch these fish. So if they catch small fish, they would need to catch, I would guess, between 10 to 15 little fish in order to fill their bellies. But if they're lucky and catch 1 or 2 big fish, maybe a large frog, they might be lucky enough to fill themselves up for the day. Hoping this female giraffe will come down and have a drink with us. What else is happening out here today? Looks like we've got lots of bird activity. I was hoping to see some wattled starlings here yesterday. Maybe the wattled starlings will come in. This looks like a ring-necked dove that's just landed. This giraffe is very patiently waiting. So giraffe generally will be a little bit more skeptical or nervous before coming down for a drink. They don't want to be taken out by a predator when they're vulnerable while bending over for a drink. Got another comment from Lucas. Lucas is asking, can female giraffe live longer than males in the wild? Lucas, I'd probably guess yes. Female giraffe generally do live longer than males in the wild, and that's probably because they're a lower risk of, succumbing to other males while fights. I mean, males do engage in these dominance fights, which can cause quite nasty injuries and which could end their life a little bit sooner than they could have actually lived, whereas females normally roam around solitary or by themselves in small family groups, although it's not a fixed family group, but they'll roam around and they're not engaging in as much fighting activity as that of the male, so they are most likely less chances of living longer. So female in the wild female giraffe that is, can normally live between 25 and 30, and a male might reach 25 or 26 years of age, so at least 4 to 5 years longer. Oh, here's a big elephant. Hello, big boy. He looks a bit antsy, doesn't he? He's excreting from his temporal gland some liquid. Might be in musk. Might just also be a hot day. Look at this big boy. I love it how elephants seem to test out the water a little bit. Give it a smell, give it a sniff, see if it's clean enough for them before they have a drink. Some more elephants coming in. Nice big herd of bachelor bulls. So Ruby is asking another question about giraffe. Ruby is asking, do female giraffe play a bigger role in herd movement decisions? So Ruby, yes, giraffe, as I mentioned earlier, they don't form family groups that last their whole lifetime. They'll often, the males will roam around, sometimes solitary, sometimes with a few other males, following the females during the breeding season, whereas females, again, they'll kind of be in this area, they'll join this group, join that group, so they're quite gregarious in their social structure. But yeah, so female giraffe do play a bigger role in herd movement decisions. Females will usually make up these groups with females and calves as opposed to the males. The males are not associated with the females unless it's for breeding season, and the older giraffe females will often be the ones to find food, water, safer areas, especially during a very long dry season. Wow, look at these elephants. So lovely watching them. So while we have a bit of a quiet moment and peacefully watch these elephants, I would love our viewers to think about what is your top wacky, weirdest sighting of 2025. I'm going to give it some thought as well, and I'd love you to share with me some of the weirdest sightings that you've had. I know you get very weird behavior in insects, bugs, beetles, butterflies, but every now and then you have predators, honey badgers, and all kinds of creatures that have very weird behavior as well. I'd say my weirdest, wackiest sighting of 2025, again, I wasn't present for the sighting, but it definitely has to be that honey badger that decided to attack an elephant's foot in Wangi National Park and then got stomped on. I think he did survive. The guide said that he moved on. But rather unusual sighting. Elephant minding his own business, and a honey badger rushed up to him and bit him on the foot. I don't know who got more of a fright, the guest in the vehicle or the poor elephant that just for no reason got attacked by a honey badger. So have a think, and we'll have a bit of a quiet moment now while we wait for some comments to come through. special to sometimes just quietly watch elephants, listen to the sounds that they make when they come down to a waterhole. Seem a little bit uneasy to these two bulls are testing each other a little bit. Maybe this is a younger bull. He's a bit unsure of his spot, of his position in the hierarchy of this bachelor group. So I've got a comment here from Jane. Jane says that she didn't expect that elephant to have such a powerful kick in the video that I was mentioning about the honey badger that attacked the elephant bull. Yes, I don't think the honey badger expected that either. It was a very strange behavior, very strange and unexplainable behavior. I mean, I know honey badgers, they're quite vicious little creatures. If you don't have a spirit animal and you want a very ferocious and successful spirit animal, I would say a honey badger is probably one of Africa's best little spirit animals. They're very relentless little creatures. Not many predators will mess with a honey badger, but very, very strange behavior. So other instances in the wild when we get wacky behavior from animals is mating displays or territorial displays between the males. And you get impala that rut during the rutting season, make that very strange guttural roaring sound, which sounds like a predator to me. Sounds like a leopard or something roaring. It's crazy. So normally during April, May, impala will be rutting. Male rhinos also make strange sounds when attacking each other and chasing other males off, or when confronted with some females. Sometimes male elephants as well can be rather unusual. So it's just so interesting to be able to watch these animals here on African and witness firsthand some of this unusual behavior that otherwise would not have even been seen. The animals have no idea that we are here watching them. So I asked a question to our viewers earlier about your wackiest wildlife sighting of 2025. Roz in George has sent through their comment. Apparently your wackiest sighting of 2025 was the anal pasting by a brown hyena at Amakhala. Apparently you won the 2,000 Rand rugged wear competition for the sighting. It was actually rather disgusting. So Roz in George, I can imagine, I've seen videos of, and I've actually seen brown hyena anal pasting at Mabola, and it is not the most pleasant sighting, I would say, but well done for winning this award. Alrighty folks, let's head across to Founders and see what else is happening at our other locations today. So talking about rhinos, we were just chatting about wacky behavior, and rhinos can also exhibit very strange and unusual wacky behavior. I feel like pretty much any male creature, including humans, can exhibit rather unusual behavior in order to impress females.
Wildlife Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly here in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Palumba and the two cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
Oh my goodness. I guess the Egyptian Goose Conference is still happening. Yesterday, while we were looking for our migratory birds, we linked across and found the same large congregation of Egyptian geese that are all hanging around, probably in almost the same spot. Must be a very important conference that they are holding. As you can see, they look rather busy. And Egyptian goose is actually the bird of the day for our e-birding community. I wasn't super delighted when I saw that Egyptian geese was the bird of the day. It's not my favorite species, but I guess every species does have its place in the food chain. Got a comment here from Mason. Mason says, can Egyptian geese hybridize with other duck species? So Mason, I would probably guess more. I mean, I'm guessing it probably has happened, but I think ducks would more hybridize with other ducks. I don't think, or geese would hybridize with other geese species. I don't think Egyptian geese would hybridize with ducks because they're quite territorial, Egyptian geese, and they don't like to have too many other species within their habitat or within their territory. So I'm gonna say no, but again, today we are discussing and talking about very weird, wild and wacky creatures and things that happen in nature. So nature does not surprise me. I always try to keep a very open mind because stranger things have happened. But yeah, as I mentioned, I think it would more be common for Egyptian geese to hybridize with, for example, a spurwing goose, so another goose species, not necessarily a duck. Whereas you do get ducks that do hybridize with each other, with other duck species, not necessarily ducks hybridizing with geese. So it would be quite separate in that regard. But strange things do happen out in the wild. So Harper is asking a question, why are Egyptian geese so fiercely protective and chase away larger birds? So Harper, mostly in the wild, it's always competition. So they're just trying to eliminate and get rid of any competition within the area. Yeah, these Egyptian geese, as I mentioned, they're not my favorite bird, and that's because they do chase away and disrupt a lot of these little aquatic ecosystems. So any other water birds in the area, they will often be chased away by these Egyptian geese. Egyptian geese do also chase specific birds off of their nests, like I've seen Egyptian geese chasing vultures off of their nest as well. So they're not always the best species to have around, but as I mentioned earlier, they do fulfill a specific spot in the ecosystem. They look like they're having a great time. They're probably doing exactly what our Egyptian geese from Founders are up to. So the Egyptian geese at Founders, I was guessing, might be feeding in the grassland area somewhere. That's why we didn't see them. So Egyptian geese do feed on seeds and grasses quite a lot, not just aquatic vegetation. And I guess this is exactly answers the question. Ilsa has asked the exact question: do Egyptian geese graze on land more than other waterfowl? And Ilsa, I'll probably say yes. I mean, I've seen Egyptian geese quite a few kilometers away from water. They do spend a lot of time picking away at seeds and the tops of grass, as opposed to ducks. So ducks are more water restricted or water bound, so you won't find, for example, a white-faced whistling duck kilometers away from water, whereas Egyptian geese can go quite far away from water. And in some cases, like over in Juma, we had one day where there was a family of Egyptian geese that actually moved all the way from Baobab Dam to the main Juma Dam, which in a straight line I would guess is at least 3 kilometers. And this little family of Egyptian geese, a male, a female, and some little goslings, waddled their way through the bush without being captured by any predators to find a new water source. Obviously those little ones could not swim yet. So we've got a question here from Lion Lloyd from the UK, is referring to our strange animal sightings. Lion Lloyd has commented, with animals in today's multimedia and interaction with AI getting better and better, it is difficult to know what is true anymore. But apparently your most unusual interaction you've seen is a horrible sighting of a leopard attacking a cheetah and sadly killing the cheetah. I know it is nature and fighting for territory and food, but still sad to see one predator does to another. So Lion Lloyd, yes, I believe Instagram has become a little bit better with blocking out AI videos, and in my experience I would also say AI is not great in some instances, because there's a lot of terrible videos that have been surfacing of people and you never know if they're true. But unfortunately this particular instance you're talking about is a cheetah that I do know, and it was a real cheetah that got attacked by a leopard in the Masai Mara, close to Nkewa, on the western side of the Sand River, and her name was Nora. So she was one of the oldest cheetah recorded in the Masai Mara. They believed her to be about 12.5 to 13 years of age, which in the wild is quite an old individual. They don't always get to that age, and yes, it is very sad. I couldn't watch the whole video because I did know her. We spent a bit of time with her. Ooh, so we've linked back across to Oldonyo, hoping that our giraffe will come down for a drink. But yeah, Lion Lloyd, just to sum up your question, yeah, unfortunately that did happen. It was a real sighting, and yeah, nature does also need to take its course. All predators do need to eat, and that does happen out in the wild. So yeah, unfortunately it is part of nature. Got another comment from Recycled Teenager from the UK, said hyenas happily playing with wild dogs, usually spawn enemies, was a real wacky moment on Wild Earth. So yes, a Recycled Teenager. I think I was actually, when was it? It must have been 2024 or it was beginning of last year, 2025. I think James was in one vehicle, we were in the other vehicle, and that's where Sherlock the hyena decided that he wanted to join a group of wild dogs. That was very, very unusual. I can't remember if it was 2023 or 2024. It could have been January 2023 actually. It's not something you see every day, and this hyena persisted to follow this pack of wild dogs for the next couple of days, benefiting from the wild dogs kill. while they made kills and had a few free meals. It was very unusual to see a hyena very submissively moving into a pack of wild dogs very calmly lying on the road. That could have turned very bad for this hyena. So yeah, we learn things, new things every day out in the wild. How unusual. You also get birds that have very strange mating displays, like your birds of paradise, the bowerbird, all these birds that transition and transform every year for the mating season. It's also rather unusual to see this behavior. Come on, giraffe. I'm hoping this female giraffe might come down for a drink. She doesn't seem very keen to come down for a drink, this female giraffe. Maybe she's a bit skeptical. The elephants were around. There we go. So the last few days we've had Live at the Waterhole. I've been live at the Waterhole since Monday. We've always found some giraffe around. There seems to be a few groups of giraffe, mostly females with one male following them. Maybe there's a female in estrus, but this female seems to be on her own, which is not unusual. It does happen from time to time. But mostly when you see one female, there will always be some more females close by. Being pestered by some ox pickers, busy grooming her on her mane there. They can be very useful, ox pickers, but also a bit of a pest from time to time, especially here at Aldonio. I find there's a very high population of ox pickers in this area, which is very good. Not for the giraffe, because the minute they go down for a drink, those ox pickers go straight into their ears, and that is very uncomfortable. Imagine an ox picker just burrowing itself into your ear and picking away for ticks while you're just trying to have a drink. The elephants could still be around, but those bulls didn't seem to stay for very long, so hopefully this female becomes... Oh wow, check at this folks, we've got a secretary bird. Isn't this epic? This giraffe, she's just procrastinating, I feel. The secretary bird just came straight in here for a drink. My goodness. Haven't seen the secretary birds here at Aldonio for quite some time. It's just one. Normally they normally can occur either singly or in pairs. They do form monogamous pairs, and they are not a migratory bird. These are mostly residents, sub-Saharan African residents. The populations do spread quite far in open savannas as well as grassland areas. So you'd say they're a partial or local migrant. So they'll move or have local movements, moving into areas that have maybe better food for them, but mostly they will be restricted to these savanna and woodland areas because of their breeding. Very special sighting. The raptors have been on fire here at Aldonio this week. Last week we had a martial eagle coming down for a swim. So Caleb is asking a good question. Caleb is asking, do female giraffe browse lower than males to save energy? Caleb, again, I wouldn't say it's to save energy. So female giraffe are a little bit shorter than males, and that's why they would browse at a lower level than the males. We've got another comment coming here from Maisha. Maisha is asking, Kerry, good day. Do Egyptian geese see color? When I was much younger, going to work wearing red dresses, I was chased by them. It was hilarious and scary. So Maisha, very interesting. I'm actually not sure if Egyptian geese see in color. I know most birds can see in color, so I'm going to say they probably do see in color. And I'm very sorry that you got chased by Egyptian geese. That's very unfortunate. And Maisha's comment about her drink of choice will have to be rooibos tea or cranberry juice to relax. Very nice choice of beverage there, Maisha. I've just bought a watermelon and pomegranate tea, which makes quite a nice iced tea, but I must say I'm not really enjoying it so much as a hot tea, but I think it's going to make a really great iced tea. It's really good during the dry season. I love making rehydrated iced tea. So you do your normal iced tea, maybe you put some fresh mint leaves in there or lemon, and then you can add 1 tablespoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of sugar mixed with some hot water. Add it into your iced tea, leave it in the fridge with some ice, and it is great for those hot summer days in very hot climates. Keeps you hydrated and full of life and energy. Hopefully our secretary bird will come back. Or maybe the partner will also come down for a drink. So Maisha, I was just searching up about your Egyptian goose experience, because it was I've never heard someone chased by an Egyptian geese before. I know geese are generally quite aggressive, but in Egyptian geese, yeah, I'm not surprised, but it's interesting that you got chased by an Egyptian geese. But yeah, apparently, so Egyptian geese do see in color. They are able to distinguish fine colors and differences in vegetation, water, as well as potential mates. So that would be a good reason for most birds to be able to see in color, is to identify a good mate, see in color for different vegetations and foods, so they know what is safe to eat. But yeah, very interesting that you got chased by an Egyptian geese. I've never heard that before. I mean, domesticated geese I'm not a fan of. They like to chase people. Yeah. So I am quite afraid of geese. And swans, I don't know, for some reason. So obviously the mute swan is one of the birds in the world that should have been classified as the largest flying bird in the world. But the mute swan goes through a molting period where for 2.5 to 3 months of the year they're not able to fly. Alrighty folks, our giraffe is procrastinating here, so while we wait for her to come down for a drink, let's head across to Elephant Pan. What we have here, a lovely breeding herd of elephants has come down for a drink over an Elephant Pan. We'll keep our eyes open, folks, because the other day I saw a hippo here. I've not seen hippos here very often, so it's quite cool to see a hippo around. Talking about hippo and weird, wild, wacky sightings, I saw on the African Instagram page they also have an unusual video of a lion being stalked by a hippo, and then the hippo proceeded to chase the lion away from the pan. So very strange watching a hippo stalking a lion. I've never seen that before. And of course the lion had no choice but to run away once this gigantic hippo came out the water and chased him away. So Wayela is asking a question about our giraffe. Do female giraffe walk alone? So Wayela, giraffe have, there's our hippo we were just talking about to the right of this mopani tree where these two elephants are drinking from. So elephants, giraffe have a bit of a loose family structure. They're quite nomadic species. So It's not uncommon to see a female giraffe by herself, but normally female giraffes will form kind of a loose family group that they move around with, but they won't always stay in the same group their entire lives. So they'll move around and maybe join another group, and so they're not restricted to staying within one family group. Look at this little baby elephant. I feel like he's trying to drink with his mouth and hold his trunk up on this reservoir. It's interesting when little baby elephants are learning how to use their trunks. They don't quite know. I mean, it takes quite a few months, normally about a year, 8 months to a year of age, for them to develop the cognitive skills and muscles in their trunk to be able to use it for manipulating food as well as drinking. And in that time, it's kind of just this floppy thing on the end of their face that they're not too sure about. Like, what on earth was this given to me for? But once they develop skills and learn from their mother, they're able to use their trunks. But definitely in their first few months, there's not much, how can you say, not much activity that they are able to do with their trunk. So they can't actually drink very well, or they don't really use it for feeding because they don't quite know how it works. Look at this elephant. So here at Elephant Pan, we were talking about earlier at Tembe and Aldonyo, how probably the locations of that pan means we mostly only see bachelor herds coming through. But here at Elephant Pan, you can see quite an array of different elephant social structures coming through. You can see solitary bulls, bachelor groups, you can see breeding herds, small breeding herds, large breeding herds, all kinds of different elephant social structures can visit this pan. It is very full at the moment. They've had incredible rainfall over in Botswana. I think this rainy season has probably been one of the best rainy seasons in most of our locations in southern Africa for the past 4 to 5 years. There's been amazing rainfall. In Victoria Falls, I think, is already sitting on between 400 to 500 mils of rain, and we're not even halfway. We're kind of halfway through the rainy season. Should stop raining between March, beginning to middle of March. The rains normally stop, and then the dry season sometimes starts in middle of April. Alright folks, our Egyptian goose family seem to have arrived at Founders, so let's head across to Founders Lodge and see what those Egyptian geese are up to. So as I suspected, I think these Egyptian geese just went off for a morning snack run. They can walk quite a distance from water, Egyptian geese, as we were speaking about earlier. They can be seen even up to 2 kilometers away from water while looking for food. So yeah, Egyptian geese will feed on mostly aquatic plants, but they will also munch on the tips of grass as well as grass seeds. We have a few questions about our elephants coming through. Maya is asking, do some African parks still host massive super herds of over 300 elephants? So Maya, yes, a lot of national parks in Africa still have massive herds of elephants, mostly Botswana, Zimbabwe and Zambia. I'll say have big natural herds of huge elephants. Of course, if you go up into East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, so there are still massive herds of elephants. But this time of the year, if you go on safari, you're most likely going to see smaller family herds. So these herds in the dry season, elephant breeding herds, or herds that have space to roam, that move freely, they will form large herds during the dry season. This is for safety, also because they move such far distances. They'll form the bigger herds, but in the rainy season they mostly fragment into smaller breeding herds. So that's what you can expect to see this time of year.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Smaller chick-napped chick will then be the one that is sacrificed or used as a distraction or a decoy to prevent their own offspring from being eaten. It's quite crazy if you think about it, rather weird behavior of these Egyptian geese. Some other wacky and weird behavior that I've seen recently on the African Instagram page was there was a thickney trying very hard to feed on a centipede. I think it bit off a bit more than it could chew. This thickney was thrashing about for quite a while trying to kill this little thickney. There's also some baby warthogs. Watching baby warthogs with the zoomies is always an entertaining show to watch. And of course some baboons getting up to some monkey business playing in a tree. So much interesting behavior out there. It does seem like the wind has picked up here in the Eastern Cape. So obviously the Eastern Cape, because it's quite wide open, grassland areas, they do have very windy, choppy weather on some days. Look at them hiding out of the wind. We want to do a bit of a shout out today for one of our very long time viewers, Grand Pappy Rusk. Thank you so much for watching our show Wild Earth and being a supporter. We're very grateful for all of our viewers, but especially our long time viewers. So big thank you to Grand Pappy Rusk for watching Wild Earth and being one of our big supporters. Have a look at this wind, folks. You can see the wind is picking up. The weather might change for the afternoon. Melanistic Marble has sent through her comment about what you eat or snack on during the Live at the Waterhole show, and apparently Melanistic Marble has her breakfast while watching Africans Live at the Waterhole, and you have English breakfast tea. Yes, nothing better than a good cup of English breakfast tea. I'm a very big tea fan myself as well. So chamomile is also a nice tea I like to drink. It's a nice sleepy tea. Hibiscus tea is also quite a good one. Just don't drink too much hibiscus tea before bed. It does keep you up or keep you awake. I think it's got a lot more caffeine in it than we believe. We've got this one Egyptian goose on the right that's kind of also hiding out in the wind, but I feel like it's keeping an eye on us. Speaking about keeping an eye on us, so have a look around these Egyptian geese. You've got that brown ring. So all animals have evolved in order to fulfill a certain role in the ecosystem or to blend in, and that round brown ring around these Egyptian geese eyes does help to act as a bit of a decoy for when large birds of prey are hunting them. It's difficult to see exactly where their eye is because they've got this brown ring around their eyes. Apparently that's the purpose of this ring. Alrighty folks, doesn't seem to be too much happening here at Founders, so let's head across to town and see what's happening over there. Oh wow, have a look here folks, my goodness. There are so many species, lots going on in this atoll. It's got some red hartebeest, which we don't see very often. Oh, I can see a chakma baboon running off in the distance. There's a troop of baboons. I've got a hardy-jar that's flying over to announce his presence where I currently am. So we've also got zebra, we've got wildebeest. What else do we have out here? We've got kudus. We've got 5 different species all in the same shot. Oh, there's also an impala. That is 6 different species all in the same shot. Isn't that epic? I mean, I think my most species I've ever seen in the same frame was at Oldonyo, and that was 7 different species we had in the same shot. So if we had some elephants coming down from the mountains, that would also be pretty cool. We could add another species. Yeah. I don't often see the red hartebeest, so lovely to see red hartebeest coming down. Got some questions from our viewers about our Egyptian geese that we were watching earlier. Sophie is asking, we do also have a pair of Egyptian geese here in the grass. Sophie was asking, why do males and females have nearly identical plumage? So Sophie, both sexes of Egyptian geese do spend a lot of time in open water and kind of vegetation near the water. So their similar plumage color does help both of them to blend into their environment, and that does help to reduce the risk of being taken out by predators, or especially when they're nesting with the female and the young. We've also got a question here from Ruby about our Egyptian geese. Why do juveniles lack the full adult eye patch in their first year? So Ruby, as with all juvenile creatures, not just birds, they're normally born a very plain drab brown color, or color that helps them to blend into the environment, and it does take quite some time for them to develop their full adult colors so that they can be seen as being sexually mature. Obviously this transition does take quite some time, so in the meantime, while they have this very drab color, it can help to blend them into their environment, especially if the adults are not around. Oh, there's our Egyptian geese. I see 3 little heads out of the water, or out of the grass, and you can see our little hartebeest. Oh, so great to see some red hartebeest. Over in Kenya, in Kewa, we had the Liechtenstein's hartebeest, which was a more common species that we would see. What is happening there? Lots of zebra. Oops, some baby wildebeest. My goodness. So have a look at that color. As I mentioned, the drab brown or tawny coloration is perfect for camouflage in these small antelope species as well as birds. Miss T says, wow, this is beautiful, and I agree with you, Miss T. This is a lovely scene. I think we've got quite a lot of these flowers, look like some sort of wild daisy. I think Mabula, we also had some of these wild daisies that pop up in Mabula. Definitely not in a huge abundance as they are here, but this is a very beautiful scene. So much life, lots happening. I'm just praying for an elephant. It would be cool if an elephant joins us, but we do have lots of wildlife activity here at Tau today. I think I also saw some white-faced whistling ducks that came into the water earlier. These red hartebeest can be found throughout sub-Saharan Africa, from Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and also into parts of Zimbabwe. We get the Coax. Sorry, the Coax hartebeest was the hartebeest species that we get up in Kenya by Nkewa, and they're a lot lighter in color to these red hartebeest. I think I much prefer these very dark red hartebeest. Their coats are a lot more prominent and dark, whereas the Coax hartebeest over in Kenya as well as parts of Tanzania, they're a lot more lighter and tawny in color. Just like with the wildebeest and zebra, these hartebeest love open grassland areas, semi-arid regions. Oh, check at these little wildebeest, aren't they just adorable? Some very naughty baboons roaming around. So interesting how with wildebeest, impala, most antelope, the youngsters will form these little creches during the day. Oh, is that a giraffe? Oh yes, we have a giraffe as well. My goodness. So there we go, folks. I think we've just broken one of my live at the waterhole records. Well, not broken, but we've matched out with Oldonyo. So Tau we've managed to count 7 different species all in the same little spot, which Oldonyo is probably the other camera that I've had 7 species all in the same place. It's quite an impressive number to have all at the same waterhole. Look at all of this life and activity. Oh, I think we might have a African spoonbill also in the water. What is happening? Lots of bird life as well. So we've got a question here from Maya. Maya is asking, is the hartebeest now considered one species with 8 subspecies? So Maya, yes, as far as I understand, the hartebeest, the taxonomy generally treats the hartebeest as one species, and I believe there's 7 recognized subspecies, and these subspecies are as follows: the red hartebeest, Koch's hartebeest, Lowell hartebeest, the Science hartebeest, the Torah hartebeest, Liechtenstein's hartebeest, and the Western hartebeest. There's still a bit of debate between if it's 6 and 7, the Western hartebeest and the Sahara hartebeest, but yeah, on average I would say 7 to 8 subspecies within the one species. Wow. Look at these youngsters playing, so full of energy and life. It's a great time of the year, green season. You've got so much fresh greenery, but also all this new life, all these new little creatures running around. So we've got another question from Finn. Finn is asking, how has the red hartebeest population recovered in southern Africa? So the red hartebeest populations has recovered much better in southern Africa due to the combination of protection and habitat sustainability as well as human management. So of course, in your protected areas, some of the strongholds or networks for these antelope, the national parks, game reserves like Kruger, Etosha, Kalahari, the red hartebeest do benefit from legal protection from hunting and poaching, and this has been some of the factors that have helped these hartebeest species recover in southern Africa. Yep, African spoonbill. What's our spoonbill up to? He's just standing there on a little rock. Wow, look at this, such a lovely scene. Oh, our baboon has found a termite mound to sit up on. It's so important to have these multi-species coming through these areas. Obviously wildebeest and zebra are always associated with one another. Zebra come in and they feed on the very tough, coarse tops of the thick vegetation, making way for the wildebeest to then have access to the lusher, shorter green grass below. Because wildebeest don't have as coarse or tough teeth as zebra do. So zebra have teeth on their top jaw and bottom, perfect cutting, grinding teeth for getting rid of this very thick grass, whereas wildebeest only have teeth on their bottom jaw. They have a bit of a gum or a upper plate that does not have teeth on their upper jaw. Look at these youngsters. The blue. Oh, we've also got a springbok. Oh, my goodness. Folks, I think, okay, we have now broken a record today. 8 species all at the same waterhole. We've just beaten tau. Imagine if we had maybe an elephant or warthogs coming down. That could make it 9 or 10 species all at the same waterhole. We've got one little springbok that was hiding from me there. Did not notice the springbok. Very, very cool. We got here, so with the wildebeest, the blue wildebeest, the gestation period is normally about 8 to 8.5 months, which is about 240 to 250 days, whereby the female gives birth to a single calf. So Hannah, I don't know anything that feeds on these flowers. I know most of these wild daisy species are a little bit invasive. They're not native to these areas, and if they were fed on, we wouldn't really see much of the flowers being eaten. I mean, you do get creatures that feed on invasive and toxic plants or strange plants like your porcupine. They'll often feed on roots and shoots and even latex kind of plants or black rhino, but I don't think anything feeds on these kind of like wild daisy plants, otherwise there wouldn't be so many in abundance. They do look lovely though. They're making Tower look like this thriving little festive location. In a few months everything will be very dry and very different to what it is now. The Egyptian geese are also having a great time walking on the shore here, feeding on all the nice lush green grass that has been exposed with the rainy season. This looks like a female springbok. Normally springbok do occur in herds, so I'm guessing there might be some more springbok somewhere close by. So normally when these wildebeest calves are born, they can weigh anything between about 20 to 25 kilograms, and they are normally able to stand and even run within the first few minutes or up to an hour after being born. That means that they need to be able to run very quickly to evade predators, because they're very vulnerable when they've just been born, and there's lots of predators out there looking for all these very easy young antelope to feed on. You need to be able to run and get away from danger. So Colin is asking, why don't we see Grant's and Thompson's gazelles in South Africa? So Colin, I think it would probably be very habitat. It's because of the habitat. The habitat in southern Africa isn't quite suitable. I mean, you might get in South Africa maybe an introduced species on game farms of Grant's and Thompson's gazelle, but they don't naturally occur in southern Africa because of their distribution, their habitat. They need to have these very wide open spaces, which in South Africa, yes, we have little grasslands, we do have savannas and open grassland areas, but I just don't think the habitat is big enough for specific species like your Grant's and Thompson's gazelle, which are more commonly seen in Kenya as well as in Tanzania, so more in East Africa. What is this giraffe up to? This giraffe also seems to be very curiously looking over in a certain direction. What are you looking for? We were talking about the wildebeest earlier. Normally female wildebeest will reach sexual maturity at about 2 to 3 years of age, and the males at about 3 to 4 years of age. Ooh, some impala. Alrighty folks, well, why don't we head across to one of our other locations and see what's happening at Mahali. So we've got our weavers here. This is our same mystery weaver we found yesterday. Trying to remember which was a common weaver species that I was seeing over in Kewa. can see the male is displaying nicely for us. Yesterday he was making a little bit difficult for us to see him, so you can see he's got quite a prominent black head, but he seems to also have a little bit of black on his throat as well. So I'm going to have a look which weaver species this could be. Obviously Kenya has quite a variety of different weaver species that we don't get in South Africa. I'm just having a quick scan here. Which weaver could you be? Do we have any birders, Kenyan birders, that are up to scratch on your Kenyan birds? I would love to hear from you. Could be, having a look here, it could be, is it a brown capped weaver possibly? No, it might be too small. So with the weavers, the males are the ones that help you to identify the specific species. The females mostly look very similar. You can see this male has been busy making his nest. I don't know if there's too many other weavers in this area that are still building their nests here, because I can only see one nest that looks like it could have been freshly created or recently made. I think yesterday we decided it could be a village weaver. So I'm just having a look at the distribution. Obviously village weavers are quite well spread throughout Africa, from southern Africa all the way into East Africa and West Africa. So Jax is asking a good question about weavers. Jax is asking, are sociable weavers' nests the largest bird-built structure in the world? So Jax, yes, sociable weavers are the largest built communal nesting birds in the world, but I think the hummerkop still wins in size, because hummerkops only a pair live in one nest, whereas the sociable weavers, yes, their nests are much bigger, and some of these nests can measure between 1.5 to up to 2 meters in length and about 1 meter in height, but you have multiple different birds working on these nests all the time. So yeah, very interesting and fascinating, these nests. Some of the nests even break down branches of the trees because they become so heavy. So Ruby is asking a question about nest building. Ruby wants to know, do younger weavers learn nest building by watching the adults? So yes, Ruby, young birds will often learn how to build nests from the adults. It does take a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, and obviously these males, not all of their nests get approved by the females. Often the nests will be ripped down by the females if they do not pass the test. So most of the weaver species are gregarious species occurring in these open habitats, especially areas close to weeded or agricultural areas, close to water where there's some sort of palms or maybe sedges. They love to make their nest from palm frond leaves or sedges. And village weavers are typically one of the most common weaver species occurring in Africa. This is what I am guessing this weaver species is possibly a village weaver. He might be waiting for a female to come and inspect his nest. And it could normally take weavers anything between 2 to 3 days to construct a single nest, whereby the female could come along and not be happy with the nest and rip it down, and he has to start all over again. So I'm noting here the red eye. I think this weaver has a red eye, the village weaver. That's one of the common distinguishing features of this bird. And like most weavers, these weavers do have quite a remarkable song. The males do start vocalizing and are very actively noisy, or make a lot of noise while they are busy building and creating these nests. Well, looks like some more weavers have joined. There could be 2 male weavers here.
Join me at Mabula Private Game Reserve from 6 to 11 May 2026 for a 5-night private safari for just 6 guests. just incredibly exciting. Enjoy guided walks, take part in rhino conservation efforts, and explore Mabula's beautiful landscapes, from open plains to rocky hills, alive with birds, animals, and vibrant plant life.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change. Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
And they'll thrash the fish about in order to try to be able to swallow the fish. Patiently waiting, maybe he'll make another kill. Seems like a perfect little fishing spot here for this great white egret. So we've got an interesting question from Noah. Noah's asking, why do great white egrets fly with their neck curled in an S shape? So Noah, the reason that these egrets will probably fly with their necks curled in an S-like shape like that is in order to reduce probably the wing beat strain. So it helps them to maintain balance during flying. If they keep their body weight centered, or have a center of gravity closer to the body, this does make flying a little bit easier for them. So it helps for energy efficiency as well as for safety while flying. Just going to patiently watch them, but it's so interesting to see how these egrets during the breeding season, they completely transition in their colors around, like as I mentioned before, like their colors around the eyes, they sprout extra plumage, some of their legs even change color in specific species. Alrighty folks, I think we'll have a bit of a quiet moment here while we just watch this great white egret hunting. efficient little hunters these egrets are. I can't decide whether it's raining in Victoria Falls or again this time of year. Do have a lot of interesting insects in the water, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's rain in Victoria Falls. Oh, he looks like he got a big one. Yep, have a look at that little fish he just caught. I love watching egrets catching frogs. They like to catch and eat frogs, but sometimes they bite off a bit more than what they can chew, and they catch these frogs that are way too big for them to actually swallow. But it's interesting with that heron, the Goliath heron, it was struggling to swallow the squirrel that it captured, and it just went and kept thrashing the squirrel about, dipping it in water. Sometimes that also helps. You'll see these big egrets will often dip their prey into water like a frog. They'll go onto the bank, kind of thrash it around a bit, and then dip it in the water, which makes it easier to swallow. This egret will probably spend most of his day feeding like this. And they do need to eat quite a lot. I'd say they spend most of their day hunting and feeding. And then they are a diurnal species, so at night they'll go and roost up in a tree somewhere. Normally they'll roost in large numbers with other herons or egrets. If possible, if there's not too many other birds in the area, then they need to just find a safe place to roost at night. But nesting, they'll always nest in quite large colonies with other species of egrets and herons. Keep seeing some birds flying across the screen every now and then. Might also have some village weavers. Could also expect to see some black crakes here in Victoria Falls Pan in front of Safari Lodge. We often have sacred ibis. Maybe if we're lucky, I've seen glossy ibis here before. Of course, you always see our vultures that come down to the vulture restaurant, the white-backed vultures, as well as our hooded vultures, and maybe if we're lucky, a Cape vulture. We have a question from Shannon. Shannon is asking, what is the call of the great white egret? What does it sound like? So I'm going to play the call for you here of the great white egret. It's not a very impressive call, but I will play it for you anyways. I hope you can hear. I'm not sure if you heard that, Sharon, but that is the call of the great white egret. It's nothing pretty to listen to at all. Kind of just sounds like a very unusual grumbling or grunting sound. Almost sounds like a sound that a crocodile could make, like very grunty and grumbly. So most of the herons don't have interesting calls at all. They're very, very similar. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Mowela over in Botswana. We've got another big, very peaceful big elephant bull just munching away as he passes through these lovely open areas over in Mowela, Botswana. Looks like he's scattered some mud onto his back. He might have had a mud wallow earlier in the day. So elephants during the green season, it's such a lovely time of the year for them because they don't have to move very far to find food, and the type of food that they feed on in the dry season compared to the green season is very different. So in the green season, as you can see here, there's lots of green grass around that the elephants will feed on, lots of shrubs and other plants that they can feed on, leaves, lots of nice green lush leaves, as opposed to the dry season when elephants are forced to feed on more bark and dig up a lot of roots and shoots because there's not necessarily many trees with leaves on them. So yeah, this time of the year the elephants, they really love feeding on the grass, and it causes less wear and tear on their teeth. So elephants on average have 6 sets of teeth. Very rarely do they have a 7th set of teeth, and these teeth throughout their lifespan are constantly being worn down as they feed. So in the dry season it does speed up the wear and tear on their teeth because they'll feed on a lot harder vegetation as opposed to nice soft green grass during the rains. And once they are on their last set of teeth, which is normally as they approach the age of 50, that's when they could start to struggle to eat, to grind food down. Their digestive system starts to struggle then, and they also struggle to get in enough food. But this elephant bull looks like he is probably in great condition. Say he's maybe heading to the age of 40, he probably still has at least 2 sets of teeth left. So he doesn't have to worry about his teeth wearing away just yet. Looks like he's got an injury on his left shoulder there. Elephants do get injuries while moving through thick vegetation or while fighting with other bulls. They are prone to getting abscesses, but they have a very strong immune system, so it's amazing the things that elephants can survive through. Hello, big boy, are you coming to have a drink now? Again, look at this elephant bull's tusks. Look how short his tusks are compared to the tusks of those elephants over in Tembe, for example. You can see this elephant's tusks, they have chipped and broken quite a few times, probably because of the very dry climate, as well as having to use his tusks as tools to feed a lot more than maybe what those elephants have to do in Tembe Elephant Park. So Melissa's asking about these elephants, how they get perfect holes in their ears. Melissa, that's a very good question, and obviously these elephants sometimes get these holes while moving through vegetation. They do tear quite quickly their ears on acacia branches and thorns, but it is interesting how they get these perfect holes, because I think if us humans were to run through an acacia forest hoping to get a perfect round piercing hole, you are probably going to get a few more other nasty scratches before you get one perfect hole. So yeah, it is very interesting how these elephants get perfect holes in their ears. Again, it could be bigger injuries that then shrunk to smaller holes, and these holes and these tears in their ears do help to identify different individuals. So you use their ears as well as their tusk formations are identifying features. Wow, have a look, folks. Our female giraffe has finally decided to come down for a drink. Feel like this female giraffe has been procrastinating most of the drive. Apologies for that noise, folks. Just some guy on his motorbike. We have been watching this giraffe all day, hoping that she will come down for a drink. She's been very nervous, procrastinating a lot, but finally she's come down for a drink. So Tinas is asking about the dead trees over at Moela in Botswana. Are all of those dead trees pushed over by elephants? And Tinas, yes, unfortunately, most of those dead trees would have been pushed over by elephants. So what happens a lot in the dry season when there's not much food, especially in these hotspot areas with waterholes, is elephants, when they come down to drink, they'll be feeding on a lot of the vegetation around these waterholes, which ends up causing a bit of an effect where the waterholes don't have much food around them, or are very bare, barren and flat. That's because of the pressure of these elephants during the dry season. Oh, we've got a warthog coming to join us. Have a look at this little warthog running behind the giraffe here. Oop, might be coming down also to enjoy the waterhole on a very hot day in Kenya. Oh, some more warthogs. See, normally, unless it's a big male warthog, you often have, if it's a female, you always find a female with another female or with some sub-adults. And in they trot. Love it when the little baby warthogs get the zoomies and are running all over the place. Hey guys. Looks like 2 females. They're coming to check us out. Perfect time. You guys better enjoy your nice mud bath before some big elephants come in and take over the waterhole. Such a lovely scene. Even when it's quiet at a waterhole, you don't always need to have a waterhole filled with elephants. There's still so much life and activity. Lot is happening out there constantly. When elephants are here, they seem to take over quite a lot. We're not very good at sharing elephants, same as zebra. Zebra can be quite aggressive in kind of not sharing waterholes or water sources, sodak areas. They're quite aggressive with chasing other species away. So Noah is asking about our giraffe, and Noah wants to know, why is the classic splayed leg drinking pose makes giraffe so vulnerable to predators? So no, it's because when giraffe have their heads down like that while they are drinking, they're not able to see around them to look for predators. So if a predator snuck up behind a giraffe while they're drinking and jumped on the back of a giraffe, they would very easily be able to take that giraffe down. Lions are known for hunting giraffe, normally big prides of lions, like in South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and even Zambia are famously known for hunting giraffe. And when they're drinking, that's a perfect time because they are very vulnerable. So 1, they are not able to see. 2, it takes them some time to throw their heads back up and stand in a secure and safe position. So same as when giraffe are lying down, they're also very vulnerable. So you'll see giraffe will only sit or lie down for maybe 20 to 30 minutes at a time amongst the rest of the group, while some giraffe are acting as the lookouts, so that they are not attacked or taken out by predators. Alrighty folks, let's head across to Tembe Elephant Park, see what's happening with our elephants. We've got some questions coming through here about our giraffe. Oliver's asking, do giraffe prefer drinking in the early hours of the morning, or when is a safer drinking time? So Oliver, generally giraffe usually drink in the early hours of the morning and late hours of the afternoon when visibility is good, because they do have a bit of a risky time drinking at night when predators are lurking or roaming around. Still got lots of elephants here at Tembe, and looks like we've got 2 pairs of woolly neck storks. Lots happening at Tembe, lots of action. Or maybe we've got an elephant swimming. We've got another question from Wyatt as asking, could giraffes survive longer droughts with their low drinking need? So yes, Wyatt, giraffe are not necessarily a water dependent species, so they can go for quite a few days without drinking. So they would be able to survive during the drought a lot longer than other species. what's happening here? I see some movement on the left hand side. Maybe the elephants are in the water. So lovely to see these woolly neck storks and these giant elephants. So it's interesting how these elephants here at Tembe are making all these little mud wallowing spots. It could be because the mud sticks to their skin better. It could be that this soil is also mineral rich. They could be seeking minerals from some of these little mineral spots. But yeah, definitely a lot of activity on this side of the pan with elephants digging holes, wallowing. Of course, once the elephants start, then the warthogs will come in. If there's buffalo in the area, buffalo will also take advantage of using these nice little mud wallows, and that's how little pans are actually formed, is by elephants. I mean, it starts off as a tiny little scraping from elephants. Next thing, it is a huge pan. Oh, look at these youngsters. Hey guys, you're coming to... So let's have a look. I think he's just coming to have a splash. This looks like a younger bull. He's got so much to learn from these older bulls. And this pan that this elephant is in looks like the elephants might have actually been rolling in this pan. He is having such a good time, this elephant. Look at him. It's like when you are a kid and you cannot resist to jump in the mud puddles, even though it is super muddy and dirty. This elephant is just having a great time. So have a look. So as this elephant sucks up mud, he'll be spraying most of the mud on his sides as well as behind his ears to cool down that blood that is flowing through his ears there. Dillian is asking a question about elephants. Can elephants lie on their back? So Dillian, as you can see, elephants are quite large and very unusually shaped creatures, so they can't lie on their backs. They generally lie on their sides. In elephant bulls, I mean baby elephants, I've seen baby elephants lying in the most unusual positions. They're still young though, but generally like big elephant bulls, if they want to sleep or rest during the day, or elephant cows, they will normally lie propped up against a termite mound or a tree trunk or a little embankment, so it makes it easier for them to get up. Elephants don't often sleep for very long periods at a time. They'll normally lie down and rest for anything between 30 to 40 minutes at a time, and then they need to get up again because of their very heavy big bodies. I mean, if you weighed a few tons, you also have to be considerate of your lungs. So if they lie down on their side for too long, elephants, they can squash their lungs and it makes it difficult for them to breathe. Just generally need to spend less time lying down these elephants. But again, as I mentioned, this is for big, fully grown elephants. As I mentioned, baby elephants, I've seen them lying on their sternums. I've seen them playing and rolling around. So they're still a lot more dexterous when they're younger. Look at this guy. Wondering what the woolly neck storks are up to here. Maybe they're trying to find any disturbed insects. This elephant is digging away. Just wondering, I've seen warthogs here at Tembe. I know they do have the Big Five at Tembe Elephant Park, but I've never actually seen a buffalo here. It would be a perfect little mud wallowing spot for buffalo. Seems like most of the other elephant bulls have moved off. So when elephants come down to these waterholes, it's interesting. Breeding herds, they seem to be more on a mission. Breeding herds will come into a waterhole, they'll have a drink, maybe the little ones have a bit of a swim, and then they move off. Whereas these that's with breeding herds, whereas these bachelor bulls, they seem to be more, they're on their own time and their own program, less organized, just kind of, they'll come into a waterhole, stay for a while, hang out for a bit, catch up on their bro time with the other bulls that are in the area, and then kind of move off when they feel like it. The younger bulls might stay at the waterhole a little bit too long, as this bull is doing here, while having way too much fun. But if they get left behind, then they need to catch up with the rest of the herd. But I think this bull knows there's still a few bulls around. He's not being left behind.
We'll see you out on safari.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
What is going on here with these boys? It seems like only 2 bulls that are left. The rest have moved off. It's so lovely watching elephants. And I love it when they've wallowed in. Sometimes you get these pans that have different color mud, and it literally looks like an art piece. Like, for example, in Sangabai in Central African Republic, you get these in that bai, it's a very famous forest elephant bai, where forest elephants come in very large numbers to drink during the day, which is quite rare, as forest elephants are mostly nocturnal. They've adapted to becoming mostly a nocturnal species. But these elephants, you can see which part of the bai that they've come from, or which part of the bai they've visited, because each different section of the bai has different colored mud. So you get one section that has this almost golden yellow mud, you have another section of the bai that has this black cotton soil mud, and another section of the bai that has very red oxided soil. So it's so amazing. You can see on elephants, I've taken pictures of you just take pictures of the the skin, the side of the body or the ear or part of the face, because you can see all the different colors of mud that is dribbled and painted onto their skin. They look like an art piece. Something made this young elephant bull a bit nervous. Do you see he's got his head up? This looks like he was smelling. Maybe there's another, maybe he doesn't know this elephant behind him, or he's a bit cautious. Hey boy, what's bothered you? So Mandy, I'm pretty sure that elephants do know that mud is therapeutic, same as water, because if you see elephants while they're having a pool party, you see these elephant bulls that one minute they're fighting with each other out of the water, next minute they're in the water and they're like best friends playing in the water, like dogs playing in water, like they're just having the best time, rolling over, playing with each other. I do agree with you there, Mandy. Mud and water I think is very therapeutic for these animals. It's just because it cools them down, you know, on these hot days in the African bush. It's amazing. These elephants, they absorb so much heat because of their dark color, so just cooling them down, it just relaxes them a bit, helps them connect to their little inner child and makes them have such a good time. So I don't often see elephant cows just splashing about in the water. It's always elephant bulls playing like little elephants, or young elephants that will be playing around in the mud, slipping and sliding, looking for any other little friends to play with, chasing each other, playing with the water, like as if it's their first time experiencing water, splashing about. Looks like we've got some good barn swallows flying over the pan here, having a drink. What a lovely scene. It's just so peaceful watching these elephants. Other birds we can, oop, is that a nyala? Might be some nyala in the distance there. What are these nyala up to? Oop, looks like we've got two nyala that have just come into screen. So Jenna, very good question. Jenna's asking, do swallows indicate rain is on the way? So Jenna, yes, swallows are known as the rain birds of Africa, swifts and swallows. Oof. So they, I feel like just like insects as well as cicadas. So these three different groups of creatures are very good at, they can pick up differences in the climate, in the weather, and they pick up when it's about to change. So have a look here. The swallows started flying around this pan. Look, there's a lot of wind all of a sudden, so I would not be surprised if Tembe is going to experience rain in the next maybe 15 minutes to 30 minutes. I find insects and birds are very good indicator of the rain. Even elephants. I've had times where you're sitting at a pan watching some elephants drinking. They were peaceful and quiet. Alrighty folks, we are going to head across to Mwela, see what else is happening out there. Some more elephants. So this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. So elephants hate lightning and thunder. I don't know so much about elephants, but I know every year in Africa there are quite a few giraffe that do get struck by lightning every year, but it wouldn't be impossible for elephants to get struck by lightning, especially in a big open area like this. So when a storm is about to approach, I've had many times of sitting at a hide or at a camp watching a waterhole, and all of a sudden the elephants just take off. They can feel the storm coming, the thunder brewing under the ground, and off they go. And then next thing it starts bucketing with rain, and you kind of, man, you're like, on a few occasions I've been stuck in a hide. Like, we should have left. The elephants ran away, the swallows came in, the cicadas started calling. The cicadas as well, I feel like the pitch and volume of cicadas, the noise that they make, changes with the climate. When it's hotter, they tend to be louder. When storms are coming or it's cooler, the volume seems to decrease. And I thought, wow, we should probably head back to camp now. But no, we might see something. The elephants took off. All the signs from the universe were there that was going to rain, but I might have been stubborn and thought, no, we might get 1 or 2 last sightings. And all of a sudden a huge storm came in, and you thought, oh, that's why the elephants ran away. So especially in an open area like this, elephants are very exposed to the elements, and they would definitely run away very quickly if the rain came. So I've got a comment here from Recycled Teenager. Says, thank you for a fantastic show, Kerry. Love your presenting. Recycled Teenager, thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure to be with you and have another lovely show here today, live at the Waterhole. Look at those clouds. So Tembe, I suspect there's going to be rain in Tembe at least the next 30 minutes to an hour. Looks like there could be some rain here brewing. Also in Moela. Oh, I think that was a African harrier that just flew across the screen here. And it's such a lovely scene that we have here in Moela, Botswana. My goodness, I can imagine it's probably quite hot right now. Probably if you were sitting at this pan, I think your skin would feel rather sticky and icky because of this storm that is brewing in the distance. A few elephants also moving around. What a lovely scene. I don't know what these are that are just flown past. Could be storks, maybe yellow-bill storks that are also in the area. Also flying about. Maybe they're also taking off because they know that there is a storm brewing in the distance. And this elephant, what is he up to? Could be a salt lick or a mineral lick here. I'm not too sure what this is that this elephant is playing with. Alrighty folks, well, it has been another great day here with you live at the Waterhole. I will also be joining you tomorrow and Friday, so please don't forget to tune in, as well as the Sunset Safari that is coming up next. Have a lovely day, folks.